I just watched what has to be one of the most horrifying videos I have ever seen on this app.
The American dream isn't dying quietly anymore. It's collapsing in plain sight. Private equity firms are buying up neighborhoods, families are priced out of their own cities, and the middle class is being erased in real time. For decades, we were told to work hard, buy a home, and build stability. But now the homes are gone, the money's gone, and the hope that came with them is disappearing too.
I just watched what has to be one of the most horrifying videos I have ever seen on this app regarding our country's financial future. It was posted by a woman named Tiffany. I will link it. She's talking about how private equity firms have been buying up all the single family homes. So up until very recently, we didn't actually have the numbers to say just how many homes they've been buying up. And most politicians across the fucking board, Democrat, Republican, whatever, have been saying, well, they're really only buying like 18% of single family homes. And then economists chimed in and said that if private equity firms are buying up anywhere from 18 to 20 to 23% of single family homes in this country, that by 2030, they would own 60% of all of the homes in America. Well, we just got the final numbers. In 2023, private equity firms purchased 44% of all of the single family homes in America, which means death for our middle class. Our generation will not be homeowners. They will have us permanently renting from like 2 or 3 companies. Now, America has a lot of problems, but this should be a unifying problem that every single person who is not part of one of those private equity firms cares about, including current homeowners. They bought 44% of all of the single family homes in America last year, and they are set up to purchase an even higher percentage of them this year. Unless we have major reform, almost all of the single family homes in this country will be owned by these private equity firms in a very, very short amount of time.
When corporations start owning nearly half of all single-family homes, that's not a housing market. That's a takeover. And the people who once dreamed of home ownership are now permanent tenants in someone else's system.
Let's do a rapid-fire roundup of VP Kamala Harris's economic policy proposals. So she announced a slate of economic policy proposals that she plans to enact as president. These are likely to be huge talking points at the DNC this week and for the next few months. So let's go through them all so you can understand them and know what to look out for and rank them on a scale of 1 to 10. So starting off strong, she calls for the first ever federal ban on price gouging, specifically on food and groceries. Now, this is an inflation-related policy and aims to help millions of Americans who struggle to pay for their groceries every week. It's not clear exactly how this would work, but it would likely involve some FTC regulation. Now, I think this is a great one. It'll make a difference for a lot of people, and it's novel, so I'm going to give this one an 8. Next up, she says she plans to have a $25,000 down payment assistance program for first-time homebuyers. This is huge. I saw a few stories from people who used previous incentives like this to be able to purchase their first home. Home ownership and land ownership are pillars of building generational wealth in this country. Also provides a lot of stability for families. So yeah, I absolutely love this. Gonna give this one a 9. Number 3, she's called for a limit on taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers. This is good, but technically DJT did say he was gonna do something like this earlier in the summer. So I'm gonna take away some originality points for that. I'm gonna give this one a 6.5 or a 7. Next up, she really wants to beef up the affordable housing market. She's calling for the construction of 3 million more affordable housing units in the next 4 years. Part of this plan also calls for a tax credit for the businesses involved in construction of those new homes, along with a $40 billion federal fund to boost new construction. She's also proposing legislation that would monitor landlords and prevent them from using software to fix rent prices. That's part of the reason why New York City rent is so high, because they use this software to piggyback off one another and set outrageously high prices. And part of this plan is also calling for a law to stop Wall Street investors from buying up houses in bulk and then reselling them at a premium. Big fan of expanding affordable housing and overall fixing private equity's involvement in the system. So this is going to get a solid 8 from me. Now, in terms of economic healthcare, she wants to help eliminate medical debt by having the government buy up some of it. She also wants to put a cap on medication costs, capping insulin at $35 for all Americans regardless of insurance. Love these, rated a 9. And last, but certainly not least, we have her plan to boost the child tax credit. She proposes giving $6,000 to families with newborns and $3,600 tax credit for after that first year. I like this. It touches on conversations people have been having about reproductive health. So I'm going to give this one a 7.5. Now, all of these proposals seem to be pretty popular amongst the general public. Still, DJT and some of the Republicans were not too happy about these proposed reforms and accused her of going full commie. This is just the beginning. I expect to see some more platform agendas on things like education, foreign relations, energy, and climate change. Hopefully they'll be released soon and we'll go through them together, so follow for more.
Even those who thought they were safe, the so-called upper middle class, are realizing it's an illusion. They're earning six figures and still living paycheck to paycheck, trapped by mortgages, taxes, and rising costs. The American middle isn't shrinking anymore, it's being crushed.
Looked it up. There's a couple different numbers out there, but apparently 89 to 150-ish is upper middle class, so apparently we are too, but it doesn't feel like it. And check out this article that I just found. Hopefully it doesn't cut it off, but it's 8 key signs you've made it to the upper middle class. And this is not old. It was written February 8th, 2024. Let's see what Yahoo Finance describes as an upper middle class lifestyle within the 89 to 150 range. If you want to read that first little part, we haven't even gotten to the 8 key signs yet, but if you want to read that, go for it. Have a nice little laugh. What extra money? I mean, this might be true for like the upper middle class, but like bottom to mid-range, I don't think so. We certainly don't have the ability to max out our retirement. We don't have the ability to have other expenses and investments. We are paying our bills, and that is it. And if you have a mortgage because you haven't paid it off yet, lazy, poor, you're very comfortable after you pay your mortgage. And you should easily be able to pay off your mortgage early, easily. If you're in the upper middle class, you don't need to keep up with the Joneses. You are the Joneses. And apparently minimal financial stress to boot. You can send your kids to college without even like sweating over the price tag. I'm going to push my kid towards the trades, honestly, because those guys are going to come out ahead. And then these two just speak for themselves. We are truly blessed to be upper middle class in the year of our Lord 2024. I want the upper middle class that all of my rich friends had growing up. I want that one. If my husband was making what he was making in like 2006, oh boy. But no, I want the upper middle class that my rich friends had when I was growing up. Oh my God, if my husband had the salary he has now in 2006, oh my God. But, I mean, we were too busy being kids. Stupid.
Families are realizing that vacations, savings, even free time, those are luxuries now. People are working year after year, never catching a break, never moving forward. It's not a life. It's survival with a prettier title.
How often does the average middle-class American go on a family vacation? My boyfriend and I have been together for 9 years. Never been on a vacation together, just the two of us. Always had so many excuses. We met when we were 18, and so we were broke college students. Then we lived with his parents, and we were saving for our first apartment. Then we were saving for PA school. We wanted to set aside as much as we could because I wouldn't be employed for the 3 years I was in the program because it was required that we didn't work while we were in the program. Then I graduated, and I got my first job. Oh, but we were saving for a house. We saved for a whole first year and put aside every penny and put that as a down payment on a house. Now we're living in our house and we have credit card debt and we have student loans and we have all of these excuses. Like there's always an excuse, right? And I feel like I haven't even lived. I'm 27 years old and I can name on one hand how many states in the United States I've been to. I can name on 0 hands how many times I've been outside of the country. How often does the average person travel? Is it just me? Am I the only person who hasn't really traveled and I have FOMO for a reason? Or do a lot of people not travel? Or do people travel kind of locally and that's considered like a vacation? Because it feels like after 9 years as a couple, we should at least have gone on one vacation together, right?
Meanwhile, the people at the top keep rewriting the rules, deregulating industries, inflating prices, and calling it progress. They've convinced us to blame the wrong enemies while they quietly take everything that matters. You're not crazy for feeling like something's deeply wrong. You're just finally seeing it.
For us everyday Americans to wake up and live our normal lives and continue to go on about our days as if everything's fine. It's so hard right now for us to not give up, for us to just, be like, forget it, like none of this matters. Like, why am I continuing to get up and go to my average dilly-dally job when everything's about to come crashing down? Like, what's the point? I feel like, honestly, so many of us are just like, what's the point of this anymore? We are struggling right now. The American people, especially if you're in the lower middle class, we're struggling, okay? We're struggling to keep it going day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. And when we're at our job, maybe we can pretend that everything's fine. Then we get home and we look on the news and we look on social media and we realize everything's not fine. And so it's a matter of the fact of like, what do we do about it? We can't just give up and stop doing what we're doing. But it's like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. So what are we going to do differently? What can we do differently?
The truth is, this system was never built to protect you. It was built to exhaust you. You work harder, they raise prices. You save money, they devalue it. And the more you struggle to hold on, the more they profit from your desperation.
Do you know how many dollars corporate lobbyists have spent in the last 50 years convincing poor Americans that we need to protect corporations from the government instead of the government from corporations? Whatever number you're thinking, probably add a 0 to that. The irony that we have a candidate on the Republican ticket who wrote a moving book about the disappearance of the middle class and the poverty and the lack of opportunity and the addiction that people face in the South and the Rust Belt in this country, and then turns around and accepts millions and millions of dollars from hedge fund managers and corporations who want to deregulate corporate interests, who want to increase corporate profits. And then this guy who got famous writing this book gets to be heralded as a champion of the poor. But he's accepting money from people who do not give a rip about the poor, do not give a rip about the disappearance of the middle class. Deregulation means removing laws and protections that were put in place by the government, by legislators to protect the little guys. Without corporate regulation, we would not have a 40-hour work week, which Project 2025 wanted to get rid of. We would not have a minimum wage. You could legally pay people $2 an hour. Without corporate regulations, you wouldn't have environmental protections, making sure the air is clean, the water is clean. You wouldn't have FDA regulations, making sure our food is safe. The government exists to protect the people. The government does not exist to mess up your life. And this is what's astounding to me, that lower income and middle class Americans have bought into this. For example, blaming the Democrats, blaming Biden for inflation, it's almost laughable. The reason we have inflation is because corporations have jacked up prices and taken record profits and paid their shareholders with them. Oh, it's the government's fault. It's Biden's fault for not protecting you from corporations. It's corporations. It's all corporations. This is not a big riddle. I'll tell you exactly how to figure this out, okay? You find the greediest bastards in this country. You find the greediest ones who want all the money and they want to hoard all the money and they don't care about other people. You find those people and you figure out who they're donating to and do not vote for that person, because that person is being bet on by the corporations. They think that he's their guy. He's going to cut them more tax breaks. He's going to give them more rights to exploit. Tip of the day, don't exploit people and vote for people who actually give a rat's patooey about the working class.
We were raised to believe in hard work, ownership, and opportunity. But that promise doesn't exist anymore, and at least not for most people. Because when the few own everything and the rest are just trying to survive, the American dream isn't broken. It's been sold.